Statistics is our topic. Our subtopic is ungrouped data, part 2. There is a part 1 of this topic, of this subtopic. Kindly scroll down and watch the part 1 of this subtopic so that you can get along. In this part, we shall discuss the interquartile range, the quartile deviation, also called the semi-interquartile range, the variance, standard deviation of the data, and we are going to discuss all of them using a question. Remember to watch to the last minute, subscribe to this channel and share to friends. Remember also to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of fresh content from this channel. Thank you and welcome to class. Let's get the data below represents a height in centimeters of 10 pencils sampled in a class 8, 9, 5, 10, 3, 4, 6, 8, 3 and 7 centimeters. We shall calculate the interquartile range, we shall calculate the quartile deviation, we shall calculate the variance, and lastly the standard deviation of the data. First part, calculate the interquartile range. Range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value in a set of data. Talking of the quartiles, our interquartile range shall be the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. But first, arrange the data in order, ascending order, so that you can get the middle of the data and see the lower and the upper quartiles. In part 1 of this subtopic, there is a step-by-step description of how you can calculate the Q1 and Q3. So from the arrangement I have shown here, our Q1 shall be 4, highlighted in red, and our Q3 shall be 8, also highlighted in red. So if you have a challenge in calculating the Q1 and Q3, kindly watch the part 1 of this subtopic. So Q1 is 4, Q3 is 8. So the difference between the two shall be 8 minus 4, which is 4. So the interquartile range, the range between the upper and the lower quartiles is 4. The next question. Calculate the quartile deviation of the data, which is also called the semi-interquartile range of the data. The difference between this question and the previous one is that we have the word semi. Semi means a half of something. So we shall get the interquartile range and divide it by 2. So the quartile deviation shall be Q3 minus Q1 over 2. So 8 minus 4, 8 was our Q3 and 4 our Q1 is 4. Divide that by 2, you get 2. We move on to the next question. If you have a challenge in any of these parts, you can always pause the video and take notes. You can also replay the whole video so that you cannot be left behind. Next question. Calculate the variance of the data. In this question, we will need a table. Let me begin with this table. I have the first column as X, which involves the numbers as collected, as arranged in ascending order. I have not used the frequencies. I have only used the numbers individually. So 3, 3, 4 up to 10. Total number n is 10. The second column is where we have the deviations from the mean. In this particular question, I have solved it using the actual mean, as we're going to see. So x minus mean means x, which is our number, minus the actual mean, which is 6.3, and we get all of them. Notice that there are negative deviations as well. Then the last column, we square the deviations, d squared, square the deviations. This helps us to get rid of the negative deviations so that all become positive values, and we add all of them, summation of d squared down there, we get 56.1. Kindly follow through the table because on the working it will be very easy. So we create a table with deviations from the mean, the actual mean of the data, we add all the values divided by 10, we get 63 divided by 10 is 6.3. So our actual mean is 6.3. There is another method of using the assumed mean, but in this particular lesson we shall use the actual mean of the data. So the formula for variance is you sum all the deviations squared. You square the deviations and sum them, and then divide it by 10. Divide it by n, which is the total number of observations. This formula holds only for ungrouped data. So we square deviations and sum them, we get 56.1. Divide that by 10, we get 5.61. 5.61 shall be the variance of this set of data. Next question. Calculate the standard deviation of the data. Standard deviation is the square root of variance. So it is a question that follows the variance. So first calculate the variance, get its square root to get your standard deviation. So the standard deviation is the square root of variance. See the formula for calculating variance there. Summation of d squared divided by n. So from part C that has been done previously, our variance was 5.61. You can replay that part so that you can see how we calculated our variance as 5.61. So now our standard deviation is only the square root of 5.61, so that we get 2.368. If you get a question that asks for standard deviation directly, just remember that you have to calculate the variance first, get its square root, so that you can get the standard deviation. Thank you and congratulations for coming to the end of this lesson. I hope to see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.